Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating playbook from a founder who used AI to build a software product from the ground up. I mean, from zero to a profitable business. We're going to break down exactly how they did it, step by step.
This is like the question every founder asks themselves after that initial launch excitement fades, right? You've got users, your product is out there, now what? How do you actually turn that little spark into a real sustainable fire? Well, we're about to walk through a playbook that shows you exactly how.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're jumping 3 months after the launch of this AI-built Chrome extension. So this isn't about that flashy launch day hype. Nope, this is about the real, raw, unfiltered data. What it looks like when a brand new product is just starting to find its feet.
And right out of the gate, the numbers were looking pretty good. I mean, they had over 8,500 total installs. That's a really solid start for any new product.
But here's what's even more important. They had 2,100 daily active users. Think about that. That means about a quarter of everyone who installed it was using it every single day. That is a huge sign that the product is sticky, that it has real value.
And this is the big one. They were already making money, nearly $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That proves right from the get-go that the business model had legs. People were willing to pay for it.
So, when you put all these pieces together, the data really starts to tell a story. You've got high daily usage, a solid 4.4 rating. That tells you, hey, we're solving a real problem here. And that 3.8% conversion rate? Yeah, it's not massive, but it's proof that the business model is viable. They had a foundation for sure, but the real work, that was just getting started. Okay, so this brings us to the really crucial part. How do you take all this early momentum and actually use that data to make smart decisions? I mean, how do you improve the product based on what the numbers are telling you, not just on a gut feeling?
Well, first things first, they needed to figure out who was actually using their product. So they took all this anonymous usage data, fed it into an AI model, and just asked it to categorize the user sessions. And the answer came back crystal clear. A whopping 65% of all activity was happening in technical scenarios. Boom! They had found their core audience, developers, engineers, the tech crowd.
But the data also uncovered a pretty big problem. 35% of new users were just gone within the first week. That's user churn, and it really is like trying to fill a bucket that's got a hole in it. You can keep pouring more and more users in the top, but if they're leaking out the bottom, you are never, ever going to grow.
And this is where having an AI copilot is just a game changer. The founder took that churn data, mixed it with user feedback, and fed it all to the AI. And what came out was this perfectly prioritized roadmap. And check this out. What's priority number 1? Reduce churn. Before anything else, before chasing shiny new features or new markets, the AI said, nope, first you gotta fix the leaks.
And would you look at that, the results speak for themselves. The team really zeroed in on making the onboarding experience better, more interactive. They added things like a guided tutorial, a little welcome checklist, stuff to get people to that aha moment faster. And after they shipped version 1.1, 7-day retention jumped by a full 8 percentage points. That's huge. Fixing that churn had an immediate, and I mean measurable, impact on the business.
All right, so let's move on to the next phase. Now that the product was stickier, that bucket was patched up, it was time to really step on the gas. Time to turn that early traction into some serious, explosive growth.
Their growth wasn't just one single strategy. It was more like an evolution in 3 stages. Stage 1, that was pure old-fashioned hustle. Just getting those first 1,000 users any way they could, mostly through community outreach. Then came stage 2, which was fueled by the product itself. It was good enough that word of mouth started to kick in. And it was only then, in stage 3, that they really started to scale with the more systematic stuff, like SEO and paid ads.
And this is super cool. The AI gear basically acted like a growth strategist. It looked at all the performance data from every single marketing channel and started spitting out these key insights. Like, it pointed out that the referral program had a practically infinite return on investment and said, hey, you should probably double down on that. It also identified their website conversion as a huge lever for growth and even suggested specific A/B tests for their ad copy to make every dollar they spent go further.
Okay, so now they've got this growing, super engaged user base. The next big hurdle? Building a business model that's actually sustainable, something that can fund the future of the product. Yep, it was time to get serious about making money.
So they landed on a classic freemium model, which was a really smart move.
The strategy behind it is what's key. The free version gave you enough of the core value to be genuinely useful, but it had a daily usage limit. This meant casual users were perfectly happy, but the real power users, they had a super compelling reason to upgrade to premium for unlimited access and all those advanced features.
So here's a look at how they structured the pricing. The regular premium plan was super accessible, just under $3 a month. But the really clever part was the enterprise tier. This was a totally strategic move. It created a much higher anchor price, and it let them capture way more value from business customers, the ones who needed things like team management and shared resources.
But look, launching a paid plan is one thing. Getting people to actually pull out their credit cards is something else entirely. And at first, their conversion rate wasn't quite where they wanted it. So what was the game-changing insight? A 14-day free trial. Just letting people experience the full power of the premium plan for themselves, no strings attached, that turned out to be the single most powerful sales tool they had. It boosted their conversions by a whopping 50%.
Okay, so for our final section, let's just step back for a second. Let's reflect on what this whole journey really means for anyone out there trying to build a product in the age of AI.
This just captures the new reality perfectly. Traditionally, if you wanted to build a product like this, you were looking at maybe a year of work, and it could easily cost you over $50,000. But with AI's help, this founder did it in under 3 months for less than $5,000. That's not just a little improvement. That's AI fundamentally rewriting the entire rulebook for how we create things. It's just drastically cutting down the time, the cost, and the risk involved.
Now, of course, the journey wasn't perfect. I mean, they never are, right? The founders shared some really crucial lessons they learned the hard way, like starting out too complex instead of with a super simple MVP, or being way too passive with early promotion. And a big one, hesitating for too long to actually charge for the product. These are classic pitfalls, but they really highlight just how important it is to stay lean, be proactive, and value what you've built right from day one. So what this whole story proves, really, is that the barriers to building something new, the technical barriers, the financial barriers, they are lower today than they have ever been in history. AI gives you the leverage, it gives you the speed, it gives you the analysis. So the only question left is the one right there on your screen. What problem are you going to solve?